It's my honor to invite our guest Shri Dinesh K. Patnaik. He is a career diplomat of the Indian Foreign Services with experience of over 25 years in a variety of interesting and challenging assignments. He has served an Indian mission in Geneva, Dhaka, Beijing, and Vienna. At headquarters, he has served in the European West External Publicity, Africa, and UN Division. Shri Patnaik served as a Deputy Chief of Mission at the Indian Embassy in Vienna from 2009 to 2012. He was India's ambassador to Cambodia from 12 to 15. He was India's ambassador to the Kingdom of Morocco from 2015 to 16. He was Deputy High Commissioner of India to London from 16 to 18. He was Additional Secretary, Indian Ocean Region from November 18 to July 19. And thereafter Additional Secretary, CVP and OIA from July 2019 to January 20 in the Ministry of External Affairs. Shri Dinesh K. Patnaik assumed charge as Ambassador of India to Spain and Andorra on 16 January 2022. Mr. Patnaik holds a master's degree in business administration from the Indian Institute of Management, Kolkata. He holds a master's degree in advanced international studies from the University of Vienna and certificate in international studies from the Diplomatic Academy, Vienna. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Shri Dinesh K. Patnaik.
Namaskar.
Namaste, sir. So much happy and inspired to see you again. I'm joined with Mr. Prasad from USA to welcome you. And Sir, United Consciousness has always been blessed with your guidance and your inspiration. Since you were president, you were DGICCR since then. Thank you very much, sir. We all are eager to listen to you. All stages.
Thank you, Vikrant ji, and thank you, Prasad Kabur. It's very nice. No, you've given me a topic of cultural exchange and spiritual growth, learning from different traditions. So I'll try and address those issues because those issues are very close to me. Because at the end of the day, what makes us human is culture and spirituality. It differentiates it from animals, it differentiates it from other persons, and every society has it. The whole idea of united consciousness is to tell that the world has one consciousness, that we are ultimately all the same people. There are no differences between us. We behave the same way. Our culture, our spirituality, the way we deal with things on a daily basis are something which is geographically specific but share the same traits. And every society has it. Nobody has unique control over culture. And today, you do cultural exchange every day because in an interconnected world, cultural exchange is inevitable. We travel, we go all over the world. When we travel, we meet people. Many of us migrate from one country to another. We watch television, listen to music, watch films, read books and magazines. All of this is cultural exchange happening every day because we see different aspects of the world every day. We are reading about other people, we are seeing how they behave, what they do. This is all cultural exchange. And when you look at all cultures in the world, spirituality is a very essential part of every culture. There is no culture in the world which doesn't have spirituality in some form or the other. And now, spirituality is different from religiosity. When I talk of spirituality, I talk about a person believing in the spirit of himself, of his life, of the world around him, of nature around him. And it is very important. And culture is closely linked with spirituality and religion. Both culture and spirituality come from where? It comes from humans trying to understand the world around us, right? The search for meaning of life. What is our place in the world? Who are we? Why do we exist? What is our purpose? Is there a force powerful that controls us? Have we been created by somebody? Who has created this world? All these are questions which culture and spirituality are the ways that we have created to answer these questions for ourselves. And yet we cannot get answers from them. So we look for answers in different places. And this is what makes us look at the world around us to see, can we find answers in other spiritualities, other cultures, other religions? Can we find it in among ourselves? Are we doing our own spirituality in a manner which makes sense to us? So we build this system of cultural and spirituality, and everybody has it. There is no human being who does not question his existence as to why do I exist? Have I been created? Is there a purpose in my life? What is my purpose? Human beings are constantly searching for purpose. And culture and spirituality is the environment which helps us find a purpose for ourselves. And all of them have the same characteristics. You look at spirituality in every religion, every society in the world. What are the characteristics? Most of them have the same characteristic. One is prayers. Everybody prays. Some pray with rosaries, you know, some pray with just normally, some pray with on books, some pray on meditation. But prayer and meditation is an essential part of every spiritual. Fasting, every spirituality. The Muslims have 30 days of Ramadan, the Christians have 40 days of Lent, Hindus have Navratris 4 times in a year, and many other fasting. Fasting, diet control, what you should eat, you should become vegetarian on this date, you should not become. These are all essential part of every spiritual organization. Chanting, meditation, these are all practices which are common to all of us. But spirituality became religion. So, what is the difference between religion and spirituality? I consider them almost the same. The difference being, in religion, spirituality gets organized. Organized, what is organized? It means you have rituals, ceremonies of important events. What are the important events in anybody's life? One is the birth of a newborn, a marriage, a death, or when you desire something, when you want divine intervention to help you get something. These are all transition events in your life. All these transition events, whether it's birth, death, marriage, desire to do well in your job, in your business, in something, so you want divine intervention, these are all transition events. All these religions creates a network of ceremonies and rituals around them, but spirituality remains at the core, you know. So this is important to understand, because uh, at the end of the day, religion is no different from spirituality. Religion just has something. What more? You have texts, you have books, you know, you have distinct clothing. Some people wear saffron clothing, some wear white, some put a cap on the head, some put a shawl where posting. So these are different ways to identify, but these are identification to get a common identity among yourselves. Again, it goes back to the same thing. All of us looking for who we are, defining ourselves, what is our purpose. And so clothing, the text, the books, all these are a way of reaffirming what we are. And so while they're all different in terms of the religious practices, in essence spirituality remains the same. And there is not much different, because what do we want in spirituality? At the end of the day, all religion wants salvation. What is salvation? That my good deeds, what I have done well in this world, should be rewarded. That is the essential part of salvation. Christianity have their own salvation. We have our own salvation, to be able to be free from the cycle of life, to get nirvana. The Buddhists have their own. The Muslims have their own. All of them. Ultimately, the salvation becomes very important. So spirituality, along with all the things, and in this, when religion comes into place, when spirituality becomes religion, it becomes through culture. How? People may ask, how does really spirituality become religion through culture? It's very simple. What do you do in religion that you don't have just in spirituality? You have clothes, dresses, your feasts, occasions, prayers. Then there's music. Music is a very important part of spirituality. All religious traditions have music. Music makes you connect with whatever, the consciousness, the united consciousness, the global consciousness. Music is an essential part. Dance, look at India. All our classical dances are all temple dances, came out of the spiritual tradition of the temples. Dances didn't happen on its own. Animism has dances. Even the Muslim religion have the dervish dances. You have all religions have dances, have music, have art, culture. Painting becomes important. How do you portray the Almighty? How do you put them into picture? So all this is part of culture. So religion, spirituality on its way to become religion goes through culture. And so this is very important to understand, because At the end, there is not much difference between what is a spiritual person and what is a cultured person and what is a religious person. They're all the same. And so the distinctions we make today, these artificial distinctions we make when we talk about my religion, your religion, mine is better, yours is better, is all artificial distinctions. But this is a different world. I will not talk about it because we are talking about spirituality and culture. And and what does spirituality help? Because there are two parts of it. One is the societal part. In the societal part, it helps in social cohesion, in getting people together, because religion and spirituality works when it is in groups. When you pray in groups, you find more profoundness inside you. When you do spirituality in groups, that's the reason spiritual groups become so important. Any activity that you do together with others becomes stronger. Yoga, simple thing. When you do yoga, it becomes a much better practice. You do exercises. Why do you go to a gym? Not because you can get the machines at home. You go to a gym because you do it with other people. It's social, the social nature of human beings. You want to do things together because it gives you greater fulfillment. Same thing with spirituality and religion. So if you take out all these things, for the individual, what is it that you get from the spirituality, religion, culture, all these things? There have been studies done in many universities across the world. I can cite you some of the studies. That a spiritual person, a cultured person, is less depressive, less depression, less anxious, less anxiety, more confidence. Uh, if you look at the spiritual well-being, of course, is very high, but also the mental well-being and the health well-being. So less blood pressure, less sugar spikes. It's a much more happier, relaxed, and a joyful person who is truly spiritual, religious, and cultured. And then what do they share? There is this connection, this oneness, the feeling that we are all one. And then what? Prejudices drop, biases drop. You start looking at everybody with the same. You don't think, oh, here's a Muslim, here's a Christian, I'm a Hindu. These are not questions you look. You look at human beings. Spirituality links everybody. This oneness, this connectedness is very important. And through this connectedness, oneness, you have an inner transformation, a transformation of yourselves. Because we grew up in a society which sometimes teaches us things which are not correct. Let's be very honest. We grew up in a society where we get a lot of information, a lot of facts, a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation. So we form opinions, we form prejudices, we form biases. Spirituality helps in lessening the biases, in understanding that at the end we are one human being, one species which is trying to exist along with nature in the world. And that if we only work together, can we do something? And then in the end, what does it bring out of you? It brings compassion and service. You look at every spiritual organization, it's based on compassion and service, serving the needy, helping the poor people, helping the people who are injured, the ill, the sick, the disabled. You know, compassion and service are very critical attitudes which you need to cultivate. Most of us don't. We are too aggressive sometimes. We sometimes look at aggression as a clarification or as a affirmation of the fact that we are strong people, that we are strong society, but that's not true. Compassion is a more stronger virtue than aggression. And so spirituality does all this. And so for us, learning from across the world, seeing different cultures, seeing different spiritual traditions, seeing all of them and assimilating. And here there are two things. One is appreciation, the other is appropriation. Many of us tend to appropriate things, not appreciate things. Appreciation helps us understand different cultures, understand that they all share the same traditions. For example, I'm here in Spain. There are so many traditions that we share with between India and Spain. I mean, I'm sometimes surprised as to how strong it is. Like, for example, here, the very strongly Catholic country, but not more than 20% go to temples. Look at most of us. How many of us go to temples on a regular basis? They don't go to church every Sunday, every Mass. Very little people go. But they attend every celebration. For example, every village, every town in Spain has a patron saint, and they have a day on which they celebrate that patron saint. And everybody comes out. So all the major festivals, all the major um, events they do, the christening of the child, the marriage, all of them land up for religious events, but they don't go to church religiously, which is to a large extent like us, and which is the world which is becoming like that. And so This is a country which has made religious activity into a cultural activity. It's brought religion back to being a cultural activity because they're spiritual inside. When you're spiritual inside, you don't need religion. Religion becomes a cultural activity, a feast, a tamasha, like we say, something to be enjoyed, to be celebrated, and not something where we are always worried about divine retribution or divine power. We are here to enjoy our spirituality, and religion then becomes a celebration. And so this country is something, and look at that, they're Catholics, very strongly Catholic, but they have gay marriages, they allow abortion, contraception. The ability to think the human being as at the core, not your fixed tenets. If you have fixed tenets which go against the well-being of the human being, then it's not spiritual anymore. Then it becomes something which is strongly religious. And religion always, after some time, if you don't stop it, starts to become oppressive, controlling, something which pervades all parts of your life. Religion becomes. And so every society has gone through reformation. For us in India, we had the Bhakti movement, where when religion became too much tied to ceremonies and rituals, we had Bhakti movement. Same here in Spain. You had the Reformation, where the mystic saints. You see, mysticism is a very important part. Mysticism basically, what does it say? What is mysticism different from spirituality and religion? Religion is fixed. God said this. This is how we are supposed to follow. These are ceremonies, rituals. Mysticism says, I don't need all this. I need a direct connection with God, with love, which was Mirabai. Mirabai, what did she say? He says, I love Krishna. For me, Krishna is my love. So my spirituality, my religion comes out of love. Same way Saint Teresa of Avila. When she came, Saint Teresa of Avila in Spain, the mystic saint, she said the same thing. I love Jesus. For me, God is the embodiment of love. And so you reform it from inside because you take away the harshness of religion which starts pervading all parts of your life to become more spiritual, to become more one with yourselves, to become you and God have a direct communion. You don't need all this contraption of ceremonies and rituals in middle to do things. So these are important things to understand. So I just gave an example, Spain. I find it in every part of the world. There is no country which doesn't have mystic saints, which does not have people who believe in direct connection with God, people who believe in spirituality more than religion. They look at religion more as the cultural aspect. So when we look at the world, we are all the same. So pride of one's culture, yeah, it's good to have pride, but when the pride turns into arrogance about one's culture, that my culture is the best, that's when we start falling. That's when we need another bhakti movement. That's when we meet people like United Consciousness who are trying to bring together world to try and see how all of we are same and how all of us can contribute to the world. So I won't say much beyond this, but thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being on United Consciousness. And I hope that you people succeed in the efforts you are making to bring the world together as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. How profoundly you said spirituality becomes religion through culture. I think this line says it all. And for the first time, I heard this line by somebody. It is a perfect connection that you established, and you said that how spiritual exchange is the way we have been brought up, we have been living. You mentioned about the essence of all spiritual pursuits are some basic questions of life, identifying our own purpose, why do we exist, and in all different ways, in all cultures, we find such pursuits. And you also said that spirituality, when becomes organized and it reflects in the culture, then it is called religion. You also mentioned that uh, when it reflects in culture, in music, in clothing, in dance, in drawing. So you mentioned that all the distinctions or the divisions are artificial, where spirituality works at both social and individual level. In social, you mentioned about importance of satsanga, and at individual level also you mentioned many researches also how it really contributes. And you mentioned spirituality really is thriving when we see human as human, we see oneness, and it leads to transformation. You rightly differentiated between pride and arrogance, appropriation and appreciation, and diverse appreciating diversity but condemning divisions. And you said that religion may become oppressive. So spiritual reformations are needed time to time, and it has happened time and again. You also picked mysticism also, and you said religion has a process probably, but mysticism is direct connection with the God, and the connection which is direct with the God, with myself, is what is spirituality in its essence. Thank you very much, sir, for inspiring us with your presence. I would like to tell you that whenever you come, whole United Consciousness as an organization feels more inspired. Prasad ji also would like to add something.
Yeah, I mean, brilliantly summarized, Vikranji. A couple of things that I took away. Spirituality is not religion. It's something, a mantra that I live by. And then you also touched upon something else, which really touches my heart. Music. Music is extremely spiritual. Um, with music, you don't need anything else. I am a little bit of a singer myself, so I know
Right.
exactly what you're talking about. Um, so, seeing a human being as a human being, that's a virtue. Um, and as Vikranji correctly said, appropriation versus appreciation. Thank you so much. It is truly inspiring. Thank you.
No, Prasadji, thank you very much. And Vikrant, it's always wonderful to see you. You are doing something which I really support. I'm sorry that today morning I got mixed up, so I
Yes,
couldn't
sir.
come early in the morning. But please, anytime you need me to come for any of your events or whenever you are around, let me know. And it will be a pleasure to be connected with United Consciousness. Thank
Means
you
a
so
lot.
much. And
Really
namaste.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Shri Dinesh K. Patnaik for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.